So I'm going to start with a story about St. Peter. Now, Peter became the Pope, as we all know, the first Pope later on. But before that, he started healing people, just like Jesus did. He would pray for them and over them, and they'd become healed. In fact, sometimes he'd be walking down the street, and his shadow would go over people, and they'd be healed. Are you kidding me? His shadow? That's so cool. His shadow. What if I walked by you, and you're coughing or something, my shadow goes over you and your cough is gone? I'd freak out. You'd freak out. But that's how cool this was. His shadow was healing people. Now, do you all remember when Jesus rose Lazarus from the dead? Remember that story? Remember that? He's standing outside and he says, "Lazarus, come out!" And Lazarus comes out and he's all gross and smelly and bandages everywhere. Do you guys remember that? That's crazy. Someone was dead and Jesus said, "Come out," and he came back to life. Did you know Peter did something like that too? Do you know Peter prayed for someone and they rose from the dead? It comes from the book of Acts, chapter 9. It says, "Now there was a disciple named Tabitha. She was full of good works and acts of charity. In those days she fell sick and died. And when they had washed her, they laid her in an upper room. And when Peter had come, they took him up to the room. But Peter sent everyone outside and knelt down and prayed. Then turning to the body, he said, 'Tabitha, rise.' And she opened her eyes. And when she saw Peter, she sat up, and he gave her his hand and lifted her up. Then calling the saints and widows, he presented her alive." I don't know about you, but if I saw or heard of someone raising someone from the dead, that's going to change my mind on a lot of things. Whatever they're saying, I'm probably going to listen to. You made someone who was dead come alive? Holy cow, what are you doing? What are you reading? What are you eating? I want to read that and I want to eat that. You just made someone who was dead come back to life by your prayers. Who do you know? Who did Peter know? He knew Jesus. He knew the Holy Spirit. Now, it wasn't Peter who rose Tabitha from the dead. It wasn't his works. It was the Holy Spirit through Peter that was able to have that miracle happen. It was the Holy Spirit.